Your business, it's all based in Jersey, your investments and stuff?
Yeah, so far as what I'm doing on my own is in Jersey.
You have them sleepless nights and you wake up, you're like, man, what's going on? You know what I mean? Tell me about that stuff.
I used to be with EXP Realty, and now I just transitioned over to Keller Williams. And he gave us a great tip because at that point he was doing his fractional, and it was the $2 million club. I think the minimum was $20,000 or $25,000.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Investor Deli Podcast, where we make the information the star. And today we have Jersey's finest, Joe Hernandez. Appreciate you, Joe, for coming on. Thank you.
Oh man, pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be on this podcast. The pleasure's all mine.
Thank you. Well, it was crazy that today I was in a mentorship call, and it's a business credit and call. And I'm on there, I'm talking my smack, and this is where I'm at. And, we're strategizing, positioning, what should I do next? And then I see Joe jump on the set. I'm like, no way. I was like, man, I got a pod with him earlier this evening. So I was like, this is God's work, honestly. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and that's how you know you're in the right rooms too, right? Like when you want to be around the right people that are going to help you elevate, that you could contribute, and everyone's growing.
Shout out to Jimmy and Juan. They get a great thing going on in their business credit business. So guys, I'll post their link as well, so you get to know what they're doing and maybe be a member as well and be able to leverage business credit. So Joe, thank you for coming on again, and tell us a little bit about what yourself and what's going on now. What have you been up to? Talk about some exciting things. Tell me.
All right. Yeah. So my name is Joe Hernandez. I'm a real estate agent in New Jersey, also an investor. I like to think of myself as an investor agent. Right now, and mainly in New Jersey, what I do is I'm a buy and hold investor, or I'll do fix and hold. I have a few properties here. I have some short-term rentals that I'm working on right now. And I'm always looking to collaborate, partner with other people. I know Mando from the great community in Sub 2 and in Owners Club with Pace Morby. So I've been blessed to him now for a couple of years and part of the same circle and the same group. What's exciting for me right now, I think I just made a big move right now. I used to be with EXP Realty, and now I just transitioned over to Keller Williams, and it's a great move for me. It's a better fit as far as like the agent side. The relationships that we have here is thinking more in itself as an investor agent, not just as a traditional agent. And that's how I've always seen myself, not just as a traditional agent, but as an investor agent. So that's exciting right now. And also I'm just looking to continue to collaborate and partner with other people and other partners in some of the things that they're doing as well. Yep.
So your business, it's all based in Jersey, your investments and stuff?
Yeah, so far as what I'm doing on my own is in Jersey, but being like in type of community that we're in with Owners Club and Sub 2, you also get a lot of different opportunities. So one of the things that I did, I partnered with Pace in an investment in Arizona. So I'm invested with Pace out in Arizona. And right now I'm actually looking to invest with other people as well in some of their deals outside of Jersey. And this way I'll get a taste for, what's going on outside of Jersey. And it's not like me running it on my own remotely. I'm partnering with other people. And one of the ways that we could do that and it's accessible is through the platform called Fractional. And I'm very excited about it. I'm excited because now, if Mando, let's say, for example, has a deal, he brings it on and he needs some other investors. Typically, you need to be an accredited investor. As an accredited investor, I think you got to have certain net worth, certain liquidity, certain income. But this allows pretty much anyone to be able to get in and invest on these other properties, these other deals. And at the same time, in doing that, it becomes part of your story. You to know the operators, who's running it, how they're running it, and you get all of this stuff that you typically wouldn't be able to get unless you're in the trenches, and it allows you to do that with a minimal input. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to participating in more of.
That sounds super exciting that you got into a deal with Pace. So that's kind of how you got into deal on a fractional deal with Pace?
Yeah, so actually with Pace, it was before Fractional. So he
Okay,
has the sub two fund, and I
correct.
invested with Pace through the sub two fund.
And how's that going?
Oh, it's great. It's one of those things that sometimes I'm the type of guy, like, you grow up, like, you do it all yourself, like, coming from that blue collar background. My parents, from the Dominican Republic, they come here and all blue collar, and they're kind of like, you're raised to do everything yourself. But in Indian world, in the real estate world, entrepreneurship world, if you do everything on your own, your time is limited, and you can't do it on your own. So definitely one of the best ways to scale, to learn, is to partner with different people. And being able to partner with Pace is like, he's the top of the real estate game. Is nobody else better that you want to partner with. And it's a multifamily. It's my first exposure into a big multifamily project. I know before I used to think multifamily was like, a two family. I was like, oh, I got multifamily. But no, this multifamily. I think it's if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's 160 units that we have that we're invested in. So it's a beautiful thing, because that's something that, on my own and before being part of this community, I never thought that would be something that would be on the horizon for me. But being in this community, it opens those doors for you. It makes you think bigger, and you see other people doing things, and it's just it more of a reality.
No, absolutely. It's just community that we're in. I call it the vibe tribe, right? It's
Yeah,
just everyone's on that same wavelength. Everybody's trying to be go givers. It's just, shout out to Pace always for always created. It's just the
big
best.
shout out to Pace. Yeah,
Shout out Sub Two, top tier TC Gator. It's just the best community to be an investor in, and you have to be in to know, right? So it's one thing to talk about, it's something to be about and be in the communities, and then you kind of be, oh yeah, this just the community itself is just amazing. Uh, I want to go back to, you mentioned some of your investments on the Airbnb side.
yeah,
You're from Jersey. I'm from New York.
yeah.
New York, they've cracked the whip on it. I know one of my neighbors was Airbnb in her townhouse, and she was getting a lot of pushback on that. They would have visits like Airbnb police. I would say, I don't know what else to call it, and they were coming and how those place was run. Well, just I don't know. It was just they were imposing their will a little bit. And does that happen in Jersey? Is that going on there as well, or what's?
Yeah, so this is what I say about that. Anybody who's interested in getting into short-term rentals, you definitely want to analyze the market. You want to study the market, the city that you plan to invest. Have they passed any laws? I would prefer that they have already passed a law, because the worst thing you want to do is invest fully, go all in, and now all of a sudden a year later they pass a law restricting, kind of like in that situation, right? So I would like, investigate, see, if they already have an ordinance, great. Now, what's that? What are that ordinance? Are you able to do it? Are you able to do it in a legal way? So that would be my on that is, investigate, if preferably that they already pass a law allowing you to do it. And if then this makes sense, then you could go, that you're in full compliance, and you're not going to get a surprise later on.
Yeah. So yeah, because like I said, in New York, it's kind of, you have to know how to navigate. There's hotel lobbies. There's whoever special interest that they might not have Airbnbs, the short-term rentals in a big city. Atlanta, I believe, went to this thing. San Francisco. There's some, it's just, I think big metro areas, you have to be wary of that. And like he said, just be prepared. Know what's going on in your locality to be able to then execute if that's what you choose to do, right? Then you also mentioned something about flipping holds. Can you explain some of that stuff, and how does that work?
Yes. So um some I like to I'm more of a buy and hold guy, but sometimes you might be able to get an opportunity to get in on a property at a lower price point, but it's a fixer, right? You go in and you gotta fix it up. But instead of me, if I know that I'm putting in my hard-earned equity, sweat, I'm making this property the best that I can make it, and now I'm just gonna sell it. That to me, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, sometimes if you need the cash flow and you need that quick, then yeah, go ahead. You could sell it. You could fix and flip. But or if it's an that maybe it you'd rather not have as part of your portfolio, then fine. But for me, I'd rather find something that I wouldn't mind keeping long term, and instead of me just flipping it, I could either just keep the property, refinance into like a loan, right? And keep that property long term. I already upgraded it. I know that everything is new. I know that everything is functioning. It's going to give me little problems, so I might as well keep it for myself.
I love that. A quick caveat: me and Jose Cortez, also an Owners Club, we are DSCR loan brokers. So if you ever need that service, we'd be able to work with you, and I appreciate that. But do you bring out investors for these properties? Because there's got to be enough meat on the bone, obviously, to DSCR it, and you're not going to get 100% of it, right? Maybe 70, let's say 70%, 75%. So some money does stay in the property. How do you deal with those parameters?
Yeah, that's a great point. Up to now, I have not brought in other investors, but like I mentioned earlier, there's now that the opportunity that we have with Fractional is definitely something that I'm considering. These bigger deals that I'm gonna have too much money tied up. It doesn't make sense for me to do that when I could bring in other investors, share some of that pie. But at least now it's a bigger pie that I'm a part of, right? And it's part of my story. So I still haven't tapped into that, but it's definitely one of the strategies that I'm considering. And hopefully soon I'll have something.
Yeah, that's that. Again, those are awesome options to have. That platform Fractional. It's who don't know. It's like a crowdfunding. People pool their money. Everyone pools their money. There's a minimum that you have to put 10,000, 5,000, whatever it is, and you pool your money into a deal. And there's voting rights in deals, right? So 50% of the people have to vote for said next step to happen, right? So it's very interesting, and it just keeps you in the project. If you don't have time to invest or it's all new to you and you just don't know what to do, this is a great option. And yeah, a lot of people in our community are utilizing this platform. So again, it's something I want to do as well. And yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and with Fractional, actually, Pace gave us I went out to Montana in June, hung out with Pace or July, and he gave us a great tip because at that point he was doing his Fractional, and it was the $2 million club. I think the minimum was 20,000 or 25,000,
Okay.
and some people were saying, "Well, I don't, that's a lot. I don't got that kind of money." Well, so Pace says, "Well, could you do 5,000?" Like, yeah, I could probably do 5,000. Is that woman find 4 or 5 more people that could do 5,000, and then you all create that one LC for that minimum, and then you
Mm,
get in, right?
nice.
So if you think about that, that's another cheat sheet right there, right? Say it's 5,000, and you don't, or you wanna be in the deals as possible, right? Then maybe you partner with other people and like, all right, I'm gonna just do 1,000 here because I want to try to get in as many deals. I want to learn as much as I can. I want that to be part of my story. Um, and then this way I'm learning who the operators are, how they're running the show. I'm learning about co-living. I'm learning about I'm learning about all of these other type of investments that if it was just me on my own, I wouldn't have the bandwidth, money. I wouldn't be able to handle it. But it's a cheat sheet right there.
No, I love that because again, it goes back to pooling your money, but now he's gonna tell you how to structure the pool, right? You do
Yeah.
this, right? Put it under one, and it's limitless because you have access to 50,000, and it's a 50,000 minimum each person. and it's 200,000 to get in or 250, right? Hey, we can play that game as well, right? So
Yep.
that's an awesome opportunity to kind of get in as well. So I love that. Love that. Again, shout out to Pace. He's always dropping them golden nuggets all
Oh
the
yeah,
time,
definitely,
all the time.
definitely.
So I know I saw you there with the crew, and you had a PML mastermind too. I was like, oh man, they're getting all the sauce. They're getting saucy up there. And I saw not only that, this guy was in the middle of the water and he like a mud pie.
Oh man, it is a blast, yo. Pace says one of the things Pace tells us is like, oh, in this community, we're not normal. We don't do normal things, right?
That's right.
So, you're around him and around each other, it just, you feed off of it, right? And it makes you think bigger, do different things, makes you get in the middle of Glacier National Park and
Yeah.
do like a mud, like, like I did, right? But it was
Yeah.
cool. It was fun. You have a great time. It's like you're investing with one another, you're learning, you're growing, and you're having fun. Like, these are my new friends. Like, Mando is
Yeah.
one of the guys that from the go that we've had some amazing conversations, and I confide in, and people like that, like-minded individuals, and community that we're in.
Yeah, I love that because you filter the room, right? Especially if you join a mastermind, a paid mastermind, for lack of better words, mastermind. I'd rather call it the Vibe Tribe. And there's a price point, whatever it is, 20,000, 30, 40, 50,000. The room filters out on its own, right?
Yeah.
So that's very useful and helpful because sometimes you're around people and you just don't talk the same language, right? And it's just, you know, and people project their fears, whatever's they're going through, and that energy translates to you, and then you got to filter that energy out. So I rather sometimes not even tell people what I'm doing. I just like to surround myself around my tribe, right, where we can then get to business, let's say. So
Yep.
yeah, Joe, you've been an investor, you know the game, you know the ups and downs. Tell about some struggles. Tell us about the pits of hell situations that you had that people can learn from, that you were like, oh, damn, how do I get out of this? Right? Like when
Yeah.
you have them sleepless nights and you wake up, you're like, man, what's going on? You know what I mean? Tell me about that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this I'll say this, and it's when it's like you're a newer investor, or you just, let's example sub two, right? You join the community, you see everyone doing deals, and it's like, man, I want to get in on a deal too. Like, how do I get on a deal too? Or maybe somebody brings you like, oh, I got this deal right here, right? Like, let's partner up. So I'll say this, like, because and that was in that role, right? I joined sub two, and I'm like, I'm itching for a deal. This was before Fractional, because Fractional is new, and I love the platform. But I got in on a property, and I didn't properly vet the partner. And nothing against him. He's a cool guy. We're still friends or anything like that. But he spread himself too thin on some other deals. And this partnership that we thought was going to be 50-50, all of a sudden he's like, yo, I'm tapped out. I can't contribute at all. And this was like before, this was a fix and hold property. So where you're like, man, what do I do now? But I say that's when having the right mindset,
Yeah,
um, and being
absolutely.
around the right people kind of pulls you through.
Yep.
Because when I was in that situation, I would I would stick to right those that would give me the proper advice to continue to pull things through, right? And when you have the right mindset, and you feel and you trust God, you trust the universe, and you just feel this out. I probably don't have it all figured out right
That's right.
now at the moment, but I'm trusting the universe that it's going to work out, right? And instead of just talking to, random people, like we were saying, you filter out the room, right? You want to be in the right room so that now you could talk to the right people, and chances are you'll find someone who was in your position before, which I did, and they're like, no, Joe, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. Probably like, you're in the bottom of the pit right now, but after that, it's all uphill, right? And so, so I was in that bad deal with the partnership. We spoke about it. Eventually, we just changed. We changed everything. Essentially, became 100% owner, and I was just able to figure out how to bring it to the finish line. And at the end of the day, it all turned out. It all worked out, right? But when he comes to me and he's like, I can't come through, like that's a scary moment right there, because you're counting on him being able to come through. But sometimes when you're put in that position, it also makes you stronger. It makes you learn quick. There's a lot of life lessons there, business lessons, right? I should have vetted my partnership properly. So that's definitely one of the things that I want to advise anyone listening.
What would you do?
Before,
What would you do in that? How would you vet them? How would you find out how would you spread too thin and stuff like that make you be like, let me think about this.
yeah.
Right?
So, and one of the beauty sub two that they have now, they have the safety course, right? So that's one of the things, right? The safety course back then, they didn't have it, but I will make sure that they took the safety course. I took that. We're all in alignment. That's one. Two, just talk about it. Like, what else are you doing? What other deals are you doing? What else are you doing? How are you funding those? How are you paying for those? I didn't have those conversations at all. It was like, all right, yeah, it's a great deal. Yeah, let's go. Right.
You were driven by maybe just to get into a deal, right? For the sake of getting into a deal,
you
right?
get that itch, and it's like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people
Yes.
are probably feeling the same and have been feeling the same.
Sure.
And that's fine, right? But you want to make sure you're patient and you do it the right way. You get in the right way. You partner with the right people. I think now with the community as well, for example, now we have Owners Club, which Mando and I are part of. And we are a lot closer to Pace. He's kind of teaching us one-on-one on a weekly basis. We have this different immersion retreats. And now you have Fractional as well. So anyone who wants to get in on a deal, like I was mentioning before, instead of, learning the hard way, which is the way that I learned, you could just go in, put in 1,000, 5,000 is into Fractional. And now you're learning how all this thing works while your money's working for you. And it's a cheat sheet, right? Instead of learning the hard way like I did, right?
No, for sure. Those are the lessons as new investors. Sometimes we're driven by ego just to do a deal for the sake of doing a deal, right? And again, you have to go through that fire, right? To maybe sometimes get burned a little bit to be like, okay, I need to be a little more defensive and strategize how to vet people, how to get into deals. So those are all learning lessons, and and like you said, have the faith that the universe is going to carry you through. That's very important, that mindset, and just have that confidence just to get you over. I know that I'm going to get out of this. It's just I have to go through it, right? That's super, super important. So I love you said that, right?
Yeah, exactly. 100%,
I
having
want to
that
get,
right mindset, surrounding yourself around the right people, positive individuals, right? Because
yeah,
there's some people that, if you're going through some stuff and they're just like get worse, and it's like, oh man, you want to stay on that. You want to be around as much positivity as possible. You're taking action, which is good, right? Maybe the action wasn't the right action, but you just keep going and you figure it out.
yeah. Talk about being in the right rooms and stuff. Like I mentioned earlier in the intro, we were in the room earlier today, and I was strategizing. It was a business credit call. I'd like to leverage other people's money, especially at 0% interest. And they provide different cycles, 6 months, 18 months, 12 months. So I really love to inject that capital into my business. But there's also a part that you have to strategize, right? Because a lot of these credit cards, there's a limit for these 0% interest. So you have to know and understand when you get these cards and you're able to get into a deal, because a lot of people suffer from, they get the access to the cash, but they don't know what to do with it. But luckily for us, we're seasoned investors. We kind of have a play for it. So I'm investing and I have a flip that I'm involved in, and I use a majority of the money in the flip to get into access in the flip. And now I'm just now thinking ahead and strategizing, just preparing for, let's say I run into a problem with some of these 0% cards expiring, right? How do I then implement a new plan? So that's kind of why I was in the call. And you always have to be in these rooms with people that know a little more just than you do to kind of leverage them. And they gave us some great insights. So I'd love for you to talk about uh, what you're into as well. Because like I said, I just saw you hop on. I was like, oh man. So I think we're kind of like in the same situation, like thinking ahead and
Yeah.
strategizing and seeing how we can connect these dots that we don't run into no.
Yeah, yeah. You bringing up great points. Like, if you're gonna invest and you're just investing with your own money, like you're gonna be limited. Um, unless you got, you're Warren Buffett and you just got
Buku
that
dollars.
cash, right? But if not, you want to use other people's money. Whether and one of the we're talking about is business funding, right? So and what you mentioned earlier with Jimmy and Juan, they're part of Fruitful Funding, and they're great. Those guys are great, and they're experts as far as business funding. Um, and today they have what they call the money room, and that's where me and Mando, we're both in the money room, just kind of strategizing, right? And so yeah, with business funding and just to kind of on the quick, it's like one of the ways you could do it is business credit cards, right? Why business credit cards? Because if you start cards on your personal side and that utilization is going up and you're maxing out these cards, even if it's at 0% and you're not paying any interest, but it's going to be red flags and it's going to hurt your credit score. So you want to do this on business side. And at the same time, one of the ways you could do it is, let's say you could have this LLC set up, you get the business funding. Now that same LLC would fund is what you're using to get into this fix and flip, right? And
Yep.
now once you fix up the property, you sell it. Now with that cash that you get, you're able to pay credit cards, and then you could just rinse and repeat. And what Mando was talking about right now is that sometimes you want to stay ahead of the game because these credit cards, they usually have a 0% promotion, and it's for a certain period of time. Some is 9 months, 12 months. If you're lucky, you might get like 18 months.
Yep.
But if that credit card promotion is going to expire, now that interest rate a little higher. So you want to be able to strategize ahead of time, especially in the market that we're in right now, where depending where you're doing the flip, some properties are staying a little in the market. So it might take you a little longer to sell, let's say. So you want to strategize ahead of time and maybe have another another or two or something else as a backup plan in case some of these promotions expire and now you're not paying the high interest rate.
For sure. And again, you do rounds and you get access to different banks, so different cards, and you, like, going back to the terms, you get different due dates, right? So you have to now, again, it's a timing, a dance to do. So if you have a card expiring in November, you have to start planning out now and getting access to more business banking, where if you know you're not able to pay that card off, you can do a balance transfer, right? So be mindful of things like that. So it's always strategizing. You stay ahead of the game and anticipate what might go wrong, because obviously you're in a project because you're excited about it, confident that it is what it is that you got into on the first point. In the first point, I hope for whoever's sake, but there's strategizing, again, thinking ahead. You don't want to be surprised something goes left. So it's always being on top of your game. That's kind of how I see it. So I like to put myself in positions and be in these rooms with people who know, just like I said, just a little more than I do, to be able to leverage their experience, right? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, always. Like, I feel you never, Tim Robbins says, Tony Robbins, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Shout
Tony
out to Tim
Robbins
too.
says, either you're growing or you're dying, right? So I'm always thinking, like, I'm always trying to grow, and we always trying to grow. You're never like at top of that mountain. You're always climbing that mountain, and you always learning, right? It's like it's like a video game, right? You pass one level, now you're in another level, right? So you want to see, who knows this level better than you. Okay, what could I learn from them? And now how could I use that, right? And then boom, sooner or later you go to another level, right? And that's how I think of real estate, right? And business in general. So you always want to surround yourself around the right people that are going to help elevate you, that you could elevate them as well. Because it might there might provide that just sparks. A good example, I'm hosting these meetups,
Yes, you are.
and in Jersey City, 2 meetups. We got Jersey City. Next one coming up is going to be in Newark and City Rub, September 24th. I'm giving a shameless plug. I hope you don't mind.
No, that's what we're
September
here for.
20, September 24th is going to be amazing. This is going to be partnering with Jumpstart Newark, and we're going to have the one and only Hector Villar. He's a fix and flipper up here in North Jersey, so he's going to kind of talk strategy. So if this is something that you're interested in, want to get into, definitely I recommend it, and we'll have the information.
For sure.
But I was talking to our latest meetup, to this investor. She's a little older, and she's been for a while, and she's telling me how she plans to purchase a strip mall. And we start talking, and she's very knowledgeable. She's been investing for a long time. But now I start to talk to her about creative financing and giving her different strategies on how she could potentially acquire this. In her mind, it was just like, wow.
What's this? For real. I
Like,
could imagine.
she's, could you repeat that? And I'm like, yeah, this is what you got to do. You do this, you do that, a little bit of seller financing. And then before you know it, you get the property and the money down.
No doubt.
And she's like, that's it. So it's like you never stop learning the right rooms. You want to be around people who are positive, who think big, who think bigger, and you want to be able to provide, and then you observe and provide, you absorb and you provide.
No, that's super dope. Uh, just segueing in big dreams. I have a segment, the makings of a hero. Where do you see yourself going? Where do you envision yourself? What's your Mount Everest? Tell us a little bit about that. When you close your eyes and you're dreaming, man, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm gonna get there. Kind of share with us some of that stuff.
So Mount Everest. So Pace has his all in Owners Club, thinking bigger, thinking beyond us, and setting up a goal, which is the Mount Everest. That is something that is going to fulfill us as an investor, but it also provides like a positive value to the community. So one of the things that right now in the U.S. we know, like, home prices are high, interest rates are high, rents are high. It's like everybody's just getting squeezed big time.
For
So
sure.
as an investor, you think about this, right? And it's like, okay, because at the end of the day, when you got to rent to, like, these are people that you're renting, and they're giving you their hard-earned money to live in these places, or in my case, short-term rentals, to come out and stay in these places. So one of the things that right now that I have in the horizon, and why I'm so excited about Fractional, because it for me is the cheat sheet. And instead of me doing it all on my own, I could leverage the community. I could leverage all these other great investors that are within my community that I already know on a personal level, um, and just piggyback off what they're doing. But one of the things that I want to do now, just because of the affordability crisis, is I want to step into co-living. It's going to fulfill two things for me. One is going to help me diversify from short-term rentals. Like we were mentioning before, sometimes, some cities crack down, there's ordinance or whatnot. So far, where I invest in, there's already ordinance, so I don't foresee any other changes. But you never know. You always want to diversify. So as far as the real estate now, I want to start to invest more into co-living. So my Mount Everest is 420 doors in co-living. And why do I want to do co-living? Because you have people out there who all they probably need is just a room. They're out there just trying to make it in this world. working hard. Maybe they're going to school, working, and it's like, yo, all I need is a room. I don't need to pay 2x, 3x what I could pay for a room for an apartment, and now I got to try to get roommates or this or that. And it's so with the co-living model, it's more so you're renting by the room, and the major player in it is called Pass Split. I don't know if people are familiar with Pass Split, but it's kind of like the Airbnb of renting by the room, or
Yes.
that's how they do it. And the individual that's gonna rent that, or the way that is done, it's a membership. So it's kind of like a club. You sign up, you're part of this membership now, and because you're part of this membership, it titles you to that room. It's just one rate that you pay. It includes your utilities, it includes your Wi-Fi, it includes everything. So you just know that that's all you got to pay. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to start investing in. And I'm going to start out through the Fractional platform and getting my feet wet in through it. And then afterwards, potentially do my own fractional raise.
No, that's amazing. You filling a need, right? Where society, like you said, everything is so damn high. Everything is high. And it's just a point of affordability. Like, dude, I can afford a $2,500 apartment. Doesn't make any sense for me, whatever. I'm just a single person. I don't need all that, how am I be able to save any if I'm paying everything I have in the rent, right? So it's a quandary. So yeah, I think this solution helps a lot of people to catapult, right? If you're mindful of that, hey, I'm paying just for what I need, right? All the minimum necessities is not breaking my bank. I can be able to stack some bread, right? And then project into a bigger move, right? To an apartment, whatever it is. But so I think is a stepping stone as well. And again, it's serving a need it's just that we, the investors, kind of have to spin to and solve some of these issues, because cities, governments, and all that, states, it's a big pill for them to do. I don't see that happening. So I love the mission. I love where you're headed, Joe. You have a lot of things going on. He's one of the leaders in Jersey. Tell us how we can connect with you, and how could we get to know you and spend the day with Joe as well. And yeah, tell us about how we can connect with you.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, Mando. For me, you can follow me my socials. I am Joe Hernandez. I am Joe Hernandez, TikTok and YouTube. You can follow me through there. And if you're in Jersey, you're nearby, we host the meetups. Typically, it is the third Tuesday of the month. And again, the next one's going to be in Newark. It's going to be in combination with Jumpstart Newark. And that's in Newark, New Jersey, at the City Rub Steakhouse. And that's going to be from 6:30 to 8:30. So if you're local and you're going to be around in the area, definitely come through. Food's going to be provided. It's going to be great. You're going to meet a lot of great people, learn, and be surrounded around people that are doing the thing and or that want to do the thing. And, you want to be in those right rooms, in the right circle. And this is one of them.
No, that's super dope. So go and support and salute. Get to meet Joe again. Thank you, Joe Hernandez, for coming out, and salute to all the Hernandezes for sure. I'm a Hernandez as well.
100%, 100%. Yo, it's my brother right here. Like,
Right.
from the first time we spoke, it was like, yo, it was love. So definitely.
Again, we're peoples. Thank
Thank
you
you. Thank
again,
you
Joe.
for having me, man.
All right, peace.
Much success to you and everything you're doing as well. You're doing big things with the community.
Thank
And
you.
it's amazing. We need, you're filling this role, and we need it. I mean, it's great. It's great to see you strive and do your thing.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. See you soon.
Appreciate you too. All right. Peace.